My wife claimed her ex was abusive. I offered support. Then I discovered she had falsely accused him to gain advantage in their divorce and is planning to do the same with me and filed for divorce. So I anonymously sent the proof to her ex's lawyer. 2 weeks later, her ex's lawyer was aggressively calling her about perjury charges. I, 38M, Stephen, always believed in supporting my partner. When I met Jennifer, 35F, she told me stories about her ex-husband, Brian. Painted him as a monster, controlling, emotionally abusive, the whole 9 yards. I felt for her, offered unwavering support, and we built a life together. Married 3 years, together for 5. It seemed good, you know? Solid. Then about 6 months ago, things started to get weird. Jennifer became distant. Arguments flared up over nothing. She started talking about feeling trapped, needing space. I tried to be understanding, suggested counseling. She refused. 2 months ago, I got served with divorce papers. Out of the blue. Well, not entirely out of the blue given the tension, but the accusations in them? Wild. She was alleging emotional distress, claiming I was manipulative, trying to isolate her. It was like she was replaying her stories about Brian, but with me as the villain. My gut clenched. This felt too familiar. I'm a pretty calm guy. I don't fly off the handle. But this was a different level of betrayal. I started digging. Not in a crazy way, just looking through old shared cloud storage, things we'd both had access to from the early days. And I found it. A folder. Deep in a rarely used backup drive I'd forgotten we even had. Labeled Brian stuff. Inside were old emails, draft affidavits, even voice memo recordings. It wasn't evidence of his abuse. It was Jennifer, coached by her sister Stephanie, planning how to fabricate abuse claims against Brian to get a better settlement in their divorce. There were notes on phrases to use, how to cry on cue, even discussions about provoking him and recording his reactions out of context. My blood ran cold. She'd done this before? And the claims against me in her divorce filing? Almost identical phrases. She was running the same playbook. For a few days, I just sat with it. The anger was there, sure, but mostly it was this profound sense of, disillusionment. The woman I loved, the life we built, all based on a foundation of lies. And she was about to do it to me. I thought about confronting her, but what would that achieve? More drama, more lies. She'd just deny it, twist it. No. Strategy. That's what was needed. I copied everything. Every email, every note, every recording. I found Brian's lawyer online. Thankfully, he was still practicing. Created a burner email account, sent everything in a zip file. Subject: information regarding Jennifer, Jennifer's last name, formerly Brian's last name, perjury and Brian's last name versus Jennifer's last name, divorce. In the body, I just wrote, found this, thought you should see it, she's doing it again. No name, no return address on the physical evidence. I also mailed to his office on a USB stick, just to be sure. I specifically chose files I knew were only on that old shared drive, things she might not even remember existed, to minimize any immediate trace back to me if she tried to figure out the source within her own files. Then I waited and focused on my own divorce. Got a lawyer, a shark named Miss Rose. Told her everything, showed her the evidence I'd sent anonymously. She was impressed, in a grim sort of way. Advised me to sit tight on that front, let Brian's lawyer make the first move. Update 1, a little over 2 weeks later. Okay, so things escalated. Fast. About 16 days after I sent the package to Brian's lawyer, Mr. Scott, the evidence was apparently so clear-cut and damning it lit a fire under him. My soon-to-be ex-wife, ex-Jennifer, started acting antsy. She'd call, rambling about needing to talk, that this divorce was a misunderstanding. A far cry from the "you're a manipulative monster" rhetoric. I just kept repeating, Jennifer, all communication through the lawyers. Remember, that's what you wanted. Click. Then this past Monday, all heck broke loose. I got a call from a friend who knows Jennifer's sister, Stephanie. Apparently, Stephanie was blowing up her phone, freaking out. Why? Because Jennifer had received a very aggressive letter from Mr. Scott. He was talking about filing motions for perjury, contempt of court, looking to claw back parts of their settlement. He also, and this is key, apparently mentioned in his letter that the evidence had been recently brought to light by a party with significant interest in ensuring the truth of your past and present declarations is fully examined. Vague, but pointed. Jennifer, predictably, lost her mind. She showed up at my apartment. banging on the door, screaming. I didn't answer, just watched through the peephole as she cycled through tears, rage, and then pathetic pleading. "Stephen, please, we need to talk. They're trying to ruin me. You don't understand." Oh, I understood perfectly. She must have realized that the specific nature of some of those old files, drafts she thought were long gone, voice notes about her plans, could only have come from somewhere we once shared, or from someone who had deep access. And given Mr. Scott's hint, she likely put two and two together and got me. Her sister Stephanie called me next. "Stephanie, Stephen, you have to call this off. This is insane. Brian is an awful person. He was abusive." Jennifer was just scared. She didn't know how to articulate it properly. Me, "Stephanie, are you seriously telling me that planning to falsely accuse someone, coaching on how to fake cry, is just not knowing how to articulate things? She was traumatized. You don't know what she went through. I know what I found, and I know she's trying to do the same to me. Funny how her trauma narratives are so similar, isn't it? You're destroying her life over a misunderstanding. She loves you." "Stephanie, save it. She made her bed. Now she gets to lie in it, with all the legal consequences." Hung up. The entitlement is breathtaking. They genuinely believe they can manipulate, lie, destroy someone's reputation in life, and then when caught, cry victim and expect me to fix it. Not happening. Miss Rose is, of course, delighted. Mr. Scott has already reached out to her, shared the evidence officially. Jennifer's divorce petition against me, with all its trumped-up claims, is looking weaker by the second. Miss Rose said her credibility is shot completely. Jennifer's lawyer in our divorce, a guy named Mr. Wayne, has been trying to do damage control. Called Miss Rose, talking about mental anguish and how Jennifer was not herself when she filed. Too little too late, buddy. The best part? Brian isn't just going after the old settlement. He's looking into whether her false accusations constituted defamation. This could get very, very expensive for Jennifer. Update 2. 1 month later. The fallout intensifies. It's been a wild month. The initial shockwaves from Brian's lawyer, Mr. Scott, hitting Jennifer with the perjury accusations haven't died down. They've amplified. Jennifer's strategy, if you can call it that, has been to double down on the victim act, but it's got this edge of panicked desperation now. Her lawyer, Mr. Wayne, tried to get Brian's motion dismissed, claiming the evidence was dubiously sourced and that Jennifer was vulnerable. The judge, from what Miss Rose tells me, was not amused, especially when Mr. Scott laid out the detailed, dated evidence of premeditated deception. The perjury case is moving forward. The entitlement from Jennifer's camp is off the charts. Her mother, Nancy, called me last week. Full-on guilt trip. "Nancy, Stephen, how can you let this happen to Jennifer? She made mistakes, yes, but she was young and scared with Brian, and with you, she's just heartbroken, confused." Nancy, with all due respect, planning to falsely accuse two different men of abuse isn't a mistake or confusion. It's a pattern of malicious behavior. She's an adult, and these are adult consequences. But perjury charges? Trying to take money back from her? That's cruel. She'll have nothing. She gave you the best years of her life. Internally, I thought, 3 years, Nancy. 3 years of a 5-year relationship. Let's not get carried away with the best years drama. Me. She tried to destroy my reputation and finances with lies, Nancy. My sympathy is, shall we say, limited. This is between her, Brian, and the courts now. And between her and me, regarding our divorce, where she also lied. Nancy, you have to tell Brian to stop. It must have been you who sent that stuff. Only you would have known where some of those old planning files were. So Jennifer's guess, likely confirmed by the type of files, had solidified into their narrative. Good. Let them know who they were dealing with. Me, I have no control over Brian. And I wouldn't stop him if I could. Jennifer needs to face the music. Perhaps you should advise her to find a good criminal lawyer. Click. Then came Jennifer's attempt at a dirty trick. She actually filed a police report against me, claimed I was harassing her, that she was afraid for her safety. This, after weeks of her banging on my door, her family calling me. Thankfully, I'd been meticulous. I'd saved every voicemail, every text, logged her appearances at my apartment, dates, times, what she was screaming. Miss Rose had already advised me to get a restraining order against her if this continued. When the police contacted me, I calmly explained the situation, mentioned the ongoing divorce and the perjury case her ex was pursuing, and offered to provide my logs and recordings. The officer sounded skeptical of her claims by the end of our call. Nothing came of it, but it was a clear attempt to paint me as the aggressor and manufacture leverage. Miss Rose added it to our growing file on Jennifer's bad faith actions. The pressure is clearly getting to Jennifer. She's apparently a wreck. Mutual acquaintances say she's lashing out at everyone, including Stephanie, who is now probably regretting her role as chief strategist in the Great Deception. Even Stephanie's loyalty seems to be wavering as the legal bills pile up for Jennifer and the stink of perjury clings to her. As for our divorce, Mr. Wayne tried to float a settlement offer. Jennifer walks away with a token amount and we both agree to a gag order, no admission of wrongdoing. Miss Rose and I laughed. Miss Rose's counter, Jennifer walks away with nothing. Literally. And she signs a statement acknowledging the false allegations in our divorce petition, or we proceed to trial and use Brian's evidence and her stunt with the police report to bury her. Oh, and she'll be responsible for her own legal fees, and we'll be asking for ours to be covered due to her egregious conduct. Mr. Wayne was not happy. He blustered about fighting this in court. We said, bring it. The best revenge here isn't some dramatic confrontation. It's watching her carefully constructed web of lies unravel, thread by thread, under the cold, hard light of the legal system. It's the system delivering the consequences she so richly deserves. Every call from her lawyer is a little more desperate. Every update from Miss Rose is a little more satisfying. She tried to play a dirty game, and now she's finding out what happens when the other player has the rule book and all the evidence on their side. Final update, 6 months later. It's been just over 6 months since I sent that anonymous package. The dust is finally settling, and honestly, the outcome is more satisfying than I could have imagined. Jennifer's life has, to put it mildly, imploded. The perjury case with Brian went about as badly for her as possible. Faced with incontrovertible evidence, those recordings were killer, her lawyer advised her to plead no contest to a lesser charge than full-blown perjury. But it was still a serious offense involving lying to the court. She had to pay back a significant portion of her divorce settlement from Brian. Not all of it, but enough to financially cripple her. Mr. Scott also made sure the judgment highlighted her pattern of deceitful behavior. That phrase has become my new favorite. Her supporters, like her sister Stephanie and her mom Nancy, are still around, but their tune has changed. It's less poor, victimized Jennifer and more hushed, embarrassed whispers about Jennifer's terrible judgment. Stephanie, I heard, is trying to distance herself, terrified of any legal blowback for her coaching role. Nancy is apparently footing a lot of Jennifer's bills, looking perpetually stressed. Our divorce was, in the end, a straightforward affair once the perjury stuff hit the fan. Jennifer's attempt with the false police report backfired spectacularly. Miss Rose used it, along with the evidence from Brian's case, to paint a picture of Jennifer as a serial manipulator with zero credibility. Mr. Wayne, Jennifer's lawyer, saw the writing on the wall. He knew that if we went to trial, Jennifer would be crucified on the stand. They folded. Completely. Jennifer got nothing from me. No spousal support. No division of assets in her favor beyond what was strictly mandated as her separate, minimal property, which wasn't much. She had to sign a retraction of all the false allegations she made against me in the initial divorce filing. That was non-negotiable for me. I wanted it on record. Miss Rose also made sure that the settlement stipulated Jennifer was responsible for all her own legal fees, and a portion of mine given her conduct. The entitlement persisted until the very end. Even during the settlement negotiations, Jennifer, through Mr. Wayne, tried to argue for some consideration for her emotional distress. Ms. Rose just looked at him and said, "The only emotional distress here is what your client inflicted and attempted to inflict on Mr. Stevens' last name. The offer stands. Take it or we'll see you in court and we will be seeking all our fees and damages for defamation." They took it. So where is Jennifer now? Last I heard, she's living with her mother. She lost her part-time job because the scandal, small as it was in the grand scheme of things, made its way through the local grapevine. She's broke, her reputation is in tatters, and she's facing the long, hard slog of rebuilding a life she systematically dismantled with her own lies. There's no remorse from what I hear, just bitterness and a bewildered sense of, how did this happen to me? Entitled people rarely see their own role in their downfall. As for me, life is good, surprisingly good. The relief of having this over, of having my name cleared, is immense. The whole ordeal was stressful, no doubt, and cost a fair bit in legal fees, but it was worth every penny to see justice done. I didn't have to become a monster to fight one. I just used the truth methodically and strategically. I'm dating again. Cautiously, but it's nice. Focusing on my work, reconnecting with friends. The peace of mind is incredible. Sometimes I think about Jennifer and just shake my head. She had a good life, a husband who loved her. She threw it all away for a game of manipulation and greed, and she lost. Big time. The revenge wasn't loud or explosive. It was quiet, systematic, and utterly devastating for her. It was the natural consequence of her actions, a chain reaction I just helped nudge along with a well-placed anonymous email. And honestly, that's the most satisfying kind of justice there is. As for Jennifer, she got what she deserved.